Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our monthly statewide school facilities meeting. We will go ahead and get started. So by way of introduction, my name is Thomas Pace. I'm the chair of CASH, and we have a jam-packed monthly meeting for you this month. So we'll start with the first slide, which is a call for public sector nominations. And I'm going to stress public sector. I know a few private sector members have turned in applications, but we are looking for legislative advisory committee members from the public sector. So please submit those to the CASH nominating committee with the contact information you see on the slide, and they're due by June 26th. Let's see, network mixers coming up. We have a couple. So July 16th at W2W Sports office in San Diego. I love going to my hometown, so join us for a mixer in San Diego. Followed by Sacramento and then the Inland Empire, starting in July and then, in September, both in September. One of those is actually on my birthday. I won't tell you which one of those is my birthday, but join one of those mixers on my birthday. We have several web shops coming up. The next one is preparing for audits and closeout. The one thing that I love talking about at work more than anything else is audits and closeout. July 16th from 10 a.m. to noon. So join us for a very good web shop on a critical aspect of our projects, audits and closeouts. Also want to mention the fall conference. Start getting your rooms now. The pre-conference is on October 7th, with the full conference the 8th and 9th. Remember, we have moved locations. This will be the second year. We are going to the Hyatt Regency in Irvine. It was a great success last year. Love the venue change, so look forward to seeing everyone in October at the fall conference. So friendly reminder, book that now. And then first up, we have John Gordon with the Department of Education. John, are you out there virtually?
I am.
Perfect. How are you, sir?
Hanging in there. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's good seeing you. You always start our day off, and so we're looking forward to hearing from you. So
Well,
time and floor is yours, sir.
thank you. Let me see if I can bring a little sunshine. I have actually three updates. I know Brian and Pass probably cover this a little bit more, but there is a stakeholder meeting tomorrow, and part of that will include my colleagues within CDE to talk more about the certification list and the priority school program. So we're hoping you'll tune in tomorrow. This will be on the OPSC will be hosting this stakeholder meeting at 9 a.m. And if you go to their website under meetings, you can certainly log in via Zoom. I think you can also be there in person, but like I said, I'm sure Brian will talk a little bit more about that. So there's that. Um, Also, during the summer, folks should be working on their career technical education facilities program grant applications. Those are due in December. We know these are pretty laborious types of applications. The CTE facilities program, if you're not aware, is based on it's a competitive grant process. We can get up to $3 million dollar for dollar match for new construction, 1.5 for modernization, and um, they will be scored, and then the applications selected for funding is based on their score and then their locale. And so those applications are due December 1st to us online. Please go to our webpage. I'll put that the CTE webpage up after I finish my presentation so you can know where to click to get the application. Angel Dottie is our CDE CTE contact. She'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. Last thing I have to share is I know summer projects are coming up. Um, Districts are working through their enrollment. Sometimes they're adding classrooms before the beginning of the school year. Just really pressing upon folks to get those projects into us as soon as possible. Can't stress enough, we need about 90 days to review these projects. I know we're under 90 days from the beginning of the school year. I've come across two or three actually situations where we're trying to get new schools open by August and the sites have not been approved. I'm working with my field reps, I'm working with the districts and the consultants um, to try to move those along. Obviously, if the site is not approved for a new school, we can't approve the plans, which means the school can't open if they if they want state funding. So um, really, typically, school sites, uh, we're looking at those and approving those almost a year before we approve the plans. In many cases, we can approve them at the same time, but when we're under the gun here about 4, 5, 6 weeks out, and we don't have everything that is required to review the site approval, it makes it very, very difficult. We don't like to pull projects out of place because folks that have submitted them other projects in advance, because we have about 100 projects that about 12 of us are looking at, 12 or 10 of us. And it is 3 levels of review, so it does take time. So we are hoping to get those in. So again, if you have things coming up, please at least give your field rep a heads up in terms of what's coming down the pike so that we can adjust accordingly. So um, that's my update. I'm not sure if there's any questions.
Well, John, there's a reason that we have you going first on your update is because you should be the first government agency that we talk to in building a school. So hopefully it's a good reminder that we should all talk to the California Department of Education before we even have a project idea. That's my motto anyways. So hopefully we talk to you first.
Thank you.
Well, it doesn't look like we have any questions. So appreciate your time and efforts and look forward to seeing you next month.
Sounds good. Take care.
Thanks, John. Up next, we have an update from Kurt Kupnick with the Division of the State Architect. So, Kurt, are you virtually joining us? Are
I
you
am
out there?
virtually joining you.
Perfect.
And I don't see my image. I just see the state agency update screen. So I'm going to share my screen. I don't know if it'll come through. Bear with me for a minute. It's always risky. We run teams, and this is not working. Courtney, can you give me a technical assist here on the share screen crossover between?
Your presentation is always very thorough. So, if the presentation can't be called up, I guess we're just going to throw you a curveball and adapt, improvise, and overcome.
Okay. Well,
but I think Courtney's, I think she's working on that for you.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll get started in the interest of everyone's time and being respectful of that. And I'll go through the slides as I would have presented them to the group. And one of the things DSA is big on is our metrics unit and the data that it provides us, because it helps us not only look back with 2020 hindsight, but also plan ahead. So right now, what we're looking at for projects received so far this year, and actually looking back to 2019, is what should be most alarming is we for 25-26 have $12.99 billion worth of work. But the interesting thing is we've only got 3,225 projects. And so if you were looking at what I am looking at, it looks like you're with the Sherpas down at the base of Mount Everest compared to 2022 and 2023. The projects has fallen off, but the cost has gone up exponentially, and I'm sure you're seeing that on your end as well, and it concerns us. It's Ida's one of Ida's goals is to always do whatever we can to be lean, to not participate in being part of the additional costs unnecessarily, because we know that doesn't buy you another book or build another classroom or educate another child. So we're forever looking at how we can be more efficient. And I wish I could show you these slides because a lot of that efficiency is built into these slides. Maybe what I can do. We might just have to do this for another day if I can't figure out a way to get this in. Wait, let me know if you can see.
You're up, Kurt.
Great, excellent. Okay, so if you can see my cursor, this is what I was talking about, the Mount Everest right here, the 4,267 projects in 2022, and then we fall off, and we're at 3,225. But look at that cost of construction. And this is probably not news to most people on this call today, but it's for us, it is all the more reason to be cognizant of delay and what it costs school districts, not just in the cost of construction and escalation, but interest owed on money borrowed. So we're forever concerned about that. So that is for those fiscal years covered there. Looking at project submittals fiscal year today, you'll see where we're at from July of 25. Again, projects go up, projects come down. We try to adjust for that. But those are our numbers statewide, what we're looking at. You can see across the top, 3,225 is our total projects received. And how it's broken out by region. And by the way, I'm sure Ida shared this with you. I know when I've shared in the past, we can provide this data to anybody. We're not secretive about it. We're very transparent. And if someone wants to know what we're up to or what we're looking at in costs, time, we're more than happy to share that with you. Moving on to the next slide, which is the work on our desks. You'll see here's where we're at across the board right now for the month of May, what we're working on. And that's an incredible number right there, 761 million per month. And then these are the submittals for the current month. And it's not slowing down. And the next slide, are you taking questions at the end or as we go along? Tom?
We can take them now if people have questions, or we typically do them at the end. But I like interactive, so if we do have questions, then we'll try to answer.
If people have questions now, please just stop me and I'll be happy to answer what I can. Thank you. So here's our project submittals for next month, upcoming. And you can see the breakout here of where they're going and how much is going in the dollar volume of those. You can see it just keeps climbing. Here we are at 1.3 billion coming in for the month of July. And in our slides, we don't cover this, but we have three ways to resource these projects. We can resource them with current staff at their current time, staff overtime, and outsourcing these projects to our consultants. And I don't know what private firms are experiencing in trying to hire qualified architects and engineers, but we struggle to keep up and I should commit to putting a slide up of staff overtime because we are having to do a significant amount of overtime to keep up with the workload here. Like I said, we're very cognizant of district's money, so much so that we're doing another fee reduction. We've sent out notices that effective the 1st of July, we'll reduce the fees. We have two reductions. We have the structural safety reduction, which you'll see right here what the new rates are. And we've also reduced our access fees. And these are the new fees. These are posted to our website also, and I'll provide that at the end of this presentation where you can go if you don't know already. I'm not really familiar with my audience, how many are new and how many are folks who have been around. All right, no questions, so we'll move on then. So here's a rulemaking update for you for the DSA. Right now in the rulemaking calendar, we are where this green arrow indicates, and we've got a few items that for this audience we believe you should be aware of. And with Cal Green, we've added a new definition, salvage material product. We propose, this is the life cycle assessment section, so we're proposing renaming it to embodied carbon reduction. The provision relates to the reuse of existing buildings and would be relocated from the Planning and Design Division of the MCRE Division, Material Conservation and Resource Efficiency. And that's to align with two other compliance methods for embodied carbon reduction. We're also proposing to rename two other categories, three. The reuse of the existing building option, the product GWP prescriptive option, and the whole building life cycle assessment performance option. All right. Further in rulemaking, we've got the UBN, the Unique Building Identifier. I don't know how many have heard of this, but this is going to be a significant change for all of us in our ability to track buildings on school sites. We have no inventory that is guaranteed to be accurate for the entire state for all the buildings on site. So we are working toward that with the UBI. And so moving forward, plans submitted, as you'll see, will include a number that DSA will issue. Hopefully this will help us to be able to be more accurate in what buildings are on each individual school site within any district. And there'll be more on that as we go through the slides. Access rulemaking, we've made some changes here to public housing and housing in place of education. I'm not going to kid you. Ida is the absolute subject matter expert when it comes to this. I am out of my depth. And so if you have questions, I would ask that you email Ida directly on this because I will only mislead you. So I would refer you to this. And in addition, on the next slide, the student housing workforce slide that I'm going to show you regarding our new policy update. So what you're looking at here, though, is local requirements that may be applied to local ordinances, local planning process, local impact fees, local building code amendments, local energy amendments, like REACH codes, depending on the jurisdiction. It applies to Cal Green residential requirements, scheduled inspections, the next day inspections as well, and regardless, though, you cannot occupy these unless a certificate of occupancy is issued by the local jurisdiction. And as I said, Ida is the SME on that, but we do have an amazing and very well qualified staff. And so these folks are your your go-tos. In addition to that, on our website, we have a plethora of information available. Leave that up for you to absorb. And I will be sending this over to Cash so they can also provide it to you, this slideshow. Finally, in this portfolio, we've got the collaboration and accelerated reviews for emergency school rebuilding. We try very hard to get kids back to normal as quickly as we can. So we do what we can, where we can. So this is a new development in the collaborative process specific to disaster response. All right, we'll move on to our sustainability portfolio. We issued a budget change proposal to hire new staff, and we hired 3 out of 4 new positions, 1 in each regional office. And these are our regional sustainability architects. They are available to the districts should they have questions, to their design professionals should they have questions. And these are the 3 folks that we've hired so far. We're still looking for Oakland. And this is the function of those folks. They will be assisting with plan review of pre-check designs. This is that we run into this issue with the PCs where minor changes make significant impact on delay. So if you're working with a manufacturer and you're making changes, I would encourage them greatly to pick up the phone and call our RSAs, explain what they're doing, and have them assist them with this so it doesn't cause a delay. The thing about the RSAs, they're new to us, of course, is they're going to assist with the plan review and pre-check of classroom buildings for Cal Green and energy compliance, but they'll also conduct a review at intake of the PCs to make sure that unapproved changes didn't occur. So it's going to be a little more difficult to slip one past us if you're running a PC through. And we'll also be doing that verification at the over-the-counter intake process. So be aware, we're tightening it up on this one. So moving on to structural safety, we've got some document updates. So we have updated the DSA 1. So, when you're filling that out, pay attention. Don't think that it's the same form you've been looking at all these years, and same for the 4. And PR 803, the procedure for seismic mitigation, we've made some changes there as well. Again, I'll be providing these slides to Courtney, so if you wanted to take a look at those at your leisure to see what changes are occurring, and I would reach out to Courtney. Of course, you're always welcome to reach directly out to me or Ida. We've also made changes here to these interpretive regs, 14 and 16-1. And we've got new web-based forms for our pre-app. All right, on FLS, we've done our alternate means and methods, 810, and our policy 2601. And then the big news here. I'm going to move past that. Like I said, you can grab these from Courtney or directly from us. E-Tracker modernization updates. We are spending millions on E-Tracker to update it and make it the tool that it should be. Right now, we have Tracker, we have Box, we have Navigator, and we are spread out all over the place. So the consolidation is one thing, but making this a tool that we can use more efficiently and helps us to be more efficient um, is the goal here. And looking at what as we're moving through the process, looking at what we're developing, we're pretty happy with what we're seeing here. So we're doing this in phases. Here's phase one. We're going to add file integration, and here the UBN, which we'll talk about as I go deeper into this e-tracker modernization. But that is a huge part of this. So you'll have pretty much real time, one stop, one shop information for all of. Sorry, got ahead of myself here. For all of the players on the project, whether you're the district, the architect, the engineer, the lab, the inspector, etc. The only ones who won't have access to this are the parents. We have a means to address their needs as well, but this is unless they're going to PRA this information, this is unique to the players who are unique to the project. So regarding the unique building identifier, we've got, for example, existing classrooms. This is the project number here, the red. We're striking out the A numbers now, and we're going to go with the UBN. So we're going backwards and forwards. So when you submit a campus project on an existing campus, all the existing buildings get unique building numbers. This will also help us with closeout and certification for those projects that have yet to be closed out and certified. Here's an example of the existing relocatables. All right. So here's the process, only applicable to enclosed buildings. No shade structures, none of that. So I don't know if there's any design professionals, but we are making design professionals aware of this if there is any on this call, but they're going to have a new responsibility here. It's not increased workload, though. It's just a new responsibility. And we're going to, I promise you, make it as painless as possible. There'll be a sign in. Okay. And this is the dashboard that you'd be seeing if you were the architect of the project. And then we have an external users section. And that wraps it up. So if you want to know more and you're not on our mailing list, subscribe. If you like what I've showed you here today, tell your friends. If your friends like it, find new friends. I don't know what else to tell you today, but that's DSA's presentation, Tom.
So Kurt, I really appreciate it. I'm a huge supporter of the UBI. I think it's a great change. and love the fact that you're reducing your own fees. I love when government can give back when it can, and so we appreciate the transparency when it comes to that. And I think we have some questions, so if either Courtney can jump in and read the questions off in the chat for Kurt, I'd appreciate it.
Certainly.
Oh, since I can't see the chat very well,
Read those out for you, Tom.
perfect. Thank you.
The first question was, does the site safety plan require LFA approval? We were recently told this is a new requirement.
It does.
Okay, and then there's another question. How are the UBN numbers cross-referenced back to application numbers, i.e. for phased projects or incremental submittals?
That is a work in progress. You're talking. I'm sorry. Restate the question again.
It says, how are the UBN numbers cross-referencing back to application numbers? For example,
okay.
in phased projects or incremental submittals.
Yeah, at the time of the application, we will take all the design professional will provide us with all the A numbers for the existing buildings. They'll be assigned a UBN at that time. If we're talking about existing buildings, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. They'll all get however they were brought to us will not matter. They'll all be assigned a UBN at that time, one UBN per structure.
I think, if I may too, I think project tracking numbers might be able to assist with that as well, of kind of tying those together.
That and I believe the inspection card should also, but I'm not 100% certain. But
sounds like we're building the airplane as we fly in some of this.
In some regards, yeah, we may run into what we don't know right now, but regardless of the increments, they'll all get one UBI, each building.
Perfect. And I think those were all the questions. Is that correct, Brian?
All the ones that I see, yeah.
Perfect. Well, Kurt, thank you very much. And tell Ida we said hi and go Trojans.
Okay.
And up next, we have Brian Lepask. And Brian, thanks for the assist on the chat. Good seeing you as always. How is Sacramento these days? Warm?
Great. It's hot. Yeah, although it's from what I understand, it's going to be kind of temperate this week. It's supposed to be, I think, like in like the high 80s or so, or maybe a little less than that. So that's nice. It means that we're getting that Delta breeze in the evenings, which always makes it nice.
I always throw you a curveball. So I figured, given that it's World Cup time, who is Brian pulling for in World Cup?
So I just a little personal note. I just got back from a long vacation up at the Oregon coast, and I spent some time watching World Cup. I was right on the ocean, which took up most of my viewing time. But we did watch some World Cup. I don't, obviously I'm rooting for the U.S. team, and I know they made it to the elimination round, but it looks like France and maybe Argentina are pretty tough, but we'll see. It's going to be up for grabs here soon. It's changing into that phase now where it goes into the if you lose, you're out. So kind of like March Madness. We'll see what happens.
Well, I'm all in on Cape Verde and Norway. So, I like the underdog and I like a good Viking that plays soccer. So it's definitely going to be a fun World Cup. So, Brian, the floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah, it's great to be here today. Like I mentioned, today is my first day back after about 2 weeks off. So hopefully I'm not too rusty. But I am doing well. I hope everybody else is too. Just kind of getting into my notes here. Our most recent priority funding round just culminated. We received 159. We received requests for 159 projects, uh, worth about 651 million in state funding. So we're excited about that. As you know, those requests will be valid starting July 1st through the end of the year, and we're really aiming for that kind of fall bond sale. Um, it's kind of crazy to be talking about the fall already, but I mean that means football season's coming, so keeping with the sports theme, looking forward to that. We normally have that bond sale typically around October. Sometimes it's a little bit earlier or later, but it's usually right around October, and we'll be keeping you posted as we learn more about that. But those projects will be eligible. And I think there was only like three that weren't able to send requests in this time, so they'll have their chance for next spring. We're continuing to process applications for charter school funding, as well as the preschool TK and FDK funding that we have available. We're going to be taking the charter approvals pretty soon here. Those are really challenging project applications to process. There's a lot of unique challenges that goes along with those, and so we're doing our best to get through those. We've processed the vast majority of them, but there are a few we're still working on. So um, we're expecting that in the near future, and then the FDK program probably a little bit later this summer, but we're making headway on that too. So we're really happy about the way that those funding rounds are going, and looking forward to getting those projects to the SAB. We've been conducting speaking of our online our workshops, OPSC online. We've been doing 2 workshops per month for the last few months. We're going to be continuing that through the end of this year. This is in support of the regulations that were recently approved that'll make OPSC online submittals mandatory starting January 1 of 2027. Um, this coming Friday, just 2 days from now, we're going to be doing a workflow, a walkthrough of the workflow for modernization funding. So it's really that main 5004 interface as far as modernization goes. It's one of the most complex ones. It's also one of the most, we've had it on there for a long time and it's polished. And so we're looking forward to showing that to you. Please accept my apologies if you were at the last meeting we had to cancel. Unfortunately, our ETS department scheduled an update during the time we were doing our presentation. We didn't know that they were going to be doing that, and so we lost our connectivity briefly. Um, and we're doing these workshops to make it known how easy it is to use OPSC online, and we have this interruption, which was unfortunate. We do have those from time to time, but they're usually very brief. This one was also. It just unfortunately wasn't the best timing, and so we've contacted them. We're working to make sure that we coordinate a little bit better with the department. It's not even within our own office. It's our department, and so we're trying to do something about that to make sure it doesn't happen anymore. And we're going to be rescheduling the financial hardship workshop in the very near future. On to career tech. So we currently have our career technical education facilities program. Their applications are due by June 30th. So it's coming up in just a few days. For this current round, this is going to be the 7th round, and there will be an 8th round. So we're splitting the 600 million that was made available from Prop 2 between the current cycle that we're working on right now and then for next year's cycle. If you aren't able to get an application in for this year's cycle, or if you aren't one of the projects that is funded in the 7th current cycle, you can submit your grant application to CDE for scoring by December 1st of this year. And then those applications will be due to OPSC by June 30th of 2027 for the next round. We're probably going to be oversubscribed. And if you have an application that doesn't get funded this time around, or if you just didn't get around to submitting it and you don't change your scope or anything about your project, you can use the same scorecard that you received this year if you receive one already. However, if you make changes or if you have a new application, you'll have to go through that scoring process next year. So, well, at the end of this year, you'll have to submit it to CDE by December 1. So just keep that in mind. If you're recycling the same project, you won't have to do that process again. Some stakeholder meeting news. We recently had our first stakeholder meeting on the new lead in water program. And as you probably know, Prop 2 made 115 million available for lead in water testing and remediation. That first meeting was on June 11th. We essentially just did an introduction to the program, how we see the statute working. We plan to have more follow-up meetings in the near future to continue to work through that. Um, we're really looking for input on this one. We're definitely not experts on water testing and remediation. We have learned a lot through the process of just kind of, researching and going through the statutes and looking at all the different options we might have. But we're learning, but we're not experts. So we would really love to hear from all of you. We're trying to make some connections with some folks in that field to help us out as well. If you don't already subscribe to our email list, please go do so. It'll keep you informed on when these meetings will take place. You can also just check the meetings tab on the OPSC website, and as we release information, you can find it there. So we're looking forward to continuing those discussions. Um, we have another stakeholder meeting tomorrow, Thursday. It's a busy week. And we're going to be discussing a few different things. The first one on the agenda is what we call global regulation cleanup. And because we've been so busy over the last year and a half with Prop 2 implementation, creating new programs, doing augmentations to existing programs, we've been looking at all the regulations very carefully. And we found some areas that we saw an opportunity for improvement, really just to kind of add some clarity. And most of the changes that we're suggesting here are not big process changes or policy changes. It's really just, like I said, minor adjustments to make things a little bit more clear. As we process applications and we see things, we find opportunities to make things a little bit more clear where there might have been some confusion. So that's all we're really doing. And there's also some things like related to, if sections have changed, like the numbers have changed because of new programs or things like that. We're just doing little updates like that. So a lot of it's just clarifying or enhancements. But we'll be presenting those just to be, we like to make sure we're very clear about everything that we're doing and kind of what our thought process is. So that's what we're doing with that one. We're also going to be continuing our discussion on the facility inspection tool, which I know is a hot topic. It is for us too. It's been a little bit since we had that first meeting, but we're getting back on the train of that one. Um, we're looking forward to talking to you about that. We are anxious to see where it's going to go. But I think that our goals on that align. So I think it'll be a good meeting. Looking forward to having that fit discussion. And then John mentioned during the CDE update, there's a CDE aspect of our meeting tomorrow. So we're looking forward to that and to having them with us tomorrow. One other little tidbit on regulations, the small school district program regulations that were approved by the state allocation board in February were just approved by the Office of Administrative Law and became effective on June 15th. So that's great news. We're continuing to work hard on getting info out on that program. As you know, I've mentioned it here many times. We did tons of workshops up and down the state earlier this year. We've done some virtual stuff. We're still planning a few more things as well. And we're doing targeted outreach for that as well, for districts primarily for districts that have never come into our program at all. So those applications will begin to be accepted November 2nd, 2026 for mod projects, and then January 15th of 27 for new construction projects. So it sounds like it's a ways away, but it's really right around the corner, especially if you're preparing an application. You want to make sure that you get in the first day if you can. Personally, I think that's going to be a very, very popular program. So if you are planning to submit applications, I would highly suggest you do it on the first day. And then lastly, today's SAB agenda, we have just one action item, and it's the first annual adjustment to the new financial hardship maximum level of total bonding capacity. That's a mouthful. As you'll probably remember, Prop 2 changed that maximum level of total bonding capacity from 5 million to 15 million. It's also now annually adjusted by the same cost of living adjustment that applies to the base grants in the LCFF, the local control funding formula. So this item tonight's that first adjustment since becoming effective. It's proposing to elevate the number from 15 million to about 15.4 million. And again, that's based on that LCFF COLA index, which was actually 2.87% this year. And so, if approved, which we anticipate it will be, it'll be effective on July 1st. And that's all I have. As always, it's been my pleasure to be here today. Nice to see everyone, or nice for everybody to see me, I guess. And we'll see you soon. We have that stakeholder meeting tomorrow, and then we're going to have our workshop on Friday. So I'll be seeing you at those.
Well, appreciate your time, Brian, and good call on World Cup, and we'll see if your predictions come true.
Thanks, Tom. Take care.
Thank you. Up next, we have our update from the Cash Advocates. So Rebecca and Ian are going to give us an update on legislation, regulatory issues, and maintenance network updates. So I believe, Rebecca, are you up first today?
No, actually today, Tom, thank you. I'm going to lead off today. So
perfect. Well, thanks,
right.
Ian.
Sure. So, yeah, I'm going to give you a sense of where we are in the legislative process. So there's an important deadline coming up next week, July 2nd, and that is the deadline to hear, let me get this right, hear bills introduced in the other house. So that's happening. Even more important, maybe, after that, there will be a 1-month summer recess, and because they will adjourn that day, legislators will go back to their districts and do work there. They will reconvene on August 3rd, and that's essentially when the last minute sprint begins to August 31st. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Another dynamic in here is that, of course, there's still a lot of work to do, not only with the bills, but the budget. We all know that the budget is passed, right? But some of the important pieces are still being negotiated. And so I think, there's definitely going to take some time in this recess to do that. So some of those decisions will be important ones when we pop back for air and it reconvenes on October 3rd. So, and of course, pulling back the lens a little bit, remember this is an election year, so there's a lot of work to do in a small amount of time. And so these folks are into it, but part of their mind is going to be they want to wrap up and go back to their districts and do their election work. So that's another one. It definitely intensifies this whole process. So that's where we are. I would say if we're using the sports metaphors today, we're around the 7th inning stretch here, a little bit past halftime, right? Going to take a little break and then finish up the session. Obviously, Cash follows a lot of bills going through here, engaging in different ways. One, of course, we're very concerned about or focused on because it's our sponsored bill is AB 2067 by Patel, and that extends the leaseback provision for 5 years. Without that, it would sunset this year. So it's an important piece of legislation. It passed unanimously in the Assembly. It is now on the It's the Senate floor on second reading. So there was some drama in some of the Senate committees, but Nancy did a very good job and getting this bill, keeping it going through the process. So we'll be watching that one very carefully. Nancy may reach out to Cash members in terms of writing letters of support as the bill hits different marks where that will be appropriate and supported. So that is it in terms of legislative land. I'm going to switch to maintenance network updates. The maintenance network, and remember the Maintenance, Sustainability, and Environmental Committee is a different committee, but also involved focusing on the intersection sometimes between where maintenance and environmental issues hit. but a lot of stuff, a lot of policy in this area, and we've seen some of our state agencies talk about it a little bit. The first one I want to talk about, though, is in the state budget process, cash. One of our priorities, and we included it in our request letter, was more funding for the deferred maintenance program, right? We all know that after 2008, the LCAP, without restricted funding, investment has been quite a bit less. We're trying to address that. While we did not get restricted funding, there is language. We worked with folks through this process to get language in the discretionary block grant that says that maintenance should be a priority in this process. So while we would definitely prefer restricted funding, that was not possible this year, but we're continuing to raise that flag of needing more funding for maintenance, and we think this is a good step. This the exact language we haven't posted on it yet. That's one of those pieces that is being negotiated as we go through here. But we think, well, there's no doubt it's very good news at minimum in highlighting the need for maintenance and giving districts a way in the code to establish a toehold to make an argument in the LCAP process. So good news there. And then the other issues were mentioned. OPSC had its first meeting to implement the Prop 2 lead and water program. Yeah, and they're really looking for input on that. We think that if you're interested in that, I know that OPSC would definitely appreciate particularly those districts and private sector folks who have experience in the area. But we think that the OPSC write-up is a good one and something to take a look at. It's a good place to start to have the policy discussion. So there's that. And of course, Cash Maintenance Network will be involved all the way through this. At least as big as that is the, and Brian Lepask mentioned it, that there's the meeting tomorrow. OPSC has a meeting tomorrow, 9 to 11, and they have their global regulation piece in there, which he talked about, and then also the second meeting of the FIT, a stakeholder meeting. It's going to be an important one, I think. I won't get too far into it, but if you are interested in this area, I highly recommend that you participate tomorrow in 9 to 11. You can go onto the OPSC webpage and look under meetings, and the link is there, as well as the OPSC staff analysis, which I highly recommend. It's only 20 or so pages, and then a lot of attachments, which are important, but that will give you a sense of how they're thinking about some of these issues related to the recommendations of the state auditor to increase the accuracy of the FIT. So a lot going on in the regulatory area, particularly with maintenance, capital renewals, major maintenance, all these pieces. So a lot going on. We will be reporting all that and looking for members to help them to get involved in this process. This is a real important process in terms of making your voice known, right? These are important pieces. The FIT, is looking to be updated, and so we want to make sure that the practitioner's voice, the real practical issues, are addressed through the process. So more to come on all of these issues. And Tom, I think that is it for today. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Ian. And we do need to work on your sports metaphors. With World Cup going on, you could have used the hydration break as your analogy there. We are now taking breaks in the middle of soccer because of summer heat in North America. So
that you're right, and I could have connected that to policy. You'll probably regret having reminded me of that. And I will say also, I must say, I'm very much enjoying the Nordic Viking rowing.
Oh,
too much. I've watched, not during work, a lot of reels after work on that. And with that, I'll turn it over to Rebecca.
the social media around the Nordic Rose are phenomenal. So if you haven't seen them, that's Ian and I's pitch. Please get out. No pun intended on the pitch, but that's our ask is go look at those reels.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. I'm just going to give a quick update on where we are with the budget. I don't have any good sports metaphors. I'm just busy watching our local AAA baseball team lose spectacularly. So that's been really exciting for me in my days.
Are you referencing the A's?
Well, so last night was a mini Battle of the Bay. The Sacramento River Cats lost 11-2 to the Las Vegas Aviators. So, Giants, VAs, AAA teams, it's not pretty.
The River Cats, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. All right. So that's where my allegiance lies, somewhat questionably. So state budget, we are in limbo. So this is the time of year where we get a sense of where the state budget will be for the next fiscal year. And the legislature has a June 15th deadline to pass a budget. They are very motivated each year to meet that deadline because that is the deadline they must meet in order to get paid and go on their summer recess and continue to do the good work in their districts for about a month in the summer. But what that does not require is an agreement with the governor as well on the budget. So this year, what we have seen happen is the legislature did pass their version of the budget on June 15th. And your guess is as good as mine as to what's going to happen in the coming days to finalize that budget. So negotiations are continuing. We originally heard that we expect final on the budget, about as final as it can be in June or by around June 29th. But please don't hold me to that. There are lots of different strategies that can be used here at the state in order to check that box of passing a budget. So we will see, more will unfold in the coming weeks. What was in the legislature's version of the budget, that gives us a pretty good sense of where they are going into these final negotiations. One of those things where we have been told that there is agreement with the governor is on a new housing bond. So $11.25 billion housing bond in SB 417. As far as we know, there's nothing specific in there for schools. I know we're tracking opportunities for workforce housing funding pretty closely, but just want you to be aware that that's something that they have agreed to. What they're still haggling over are things like, what is the anticipated revenue? The legislature is a little bit more optimistic than the governor by about $5 billion. They're talking about the appropriate level of reserves. So while there are significant reserve payments, almost $30 billion in the governor's proposed version of the budget, the legislature thinks we can do with a little bit less. And so they're proposing a little bit less than the governor for things like the school Prop 98 reserve. And for that there's a new surplus holding account so that the state can be protected from over appropriating and over committing when revenues have not yet come in. So that's something that they're talking about. Legislature rejected, delayed, and reduced some of the governor's proposed cuts to safety net programs. So in an election year, that's something that they're certainly going to be sensitive to. And then there's a discussion between the legislature and governor over new revenues. So that here in the state of California is typically taxes. And what does that look like? They're looking in the neighborhood of healthcare related taxes. So is it going to be managed care organizations? Is it going to be employers who could have some additional responsibility for providing healthcare to their employees? So these are some of the open questions. As far as the school portion of the budget, the legislature is a little bit more generous in their version on Proposition 98 because they've got those higher revenues built into their budget. So about $2.7 billion more for schools in Prop 98 than the governor. And the legislature is willing to go along with the governor's proposal to create a settle-up obligation for schools. What does that mean? That means when we go back and we say, in the current year, what were we supposed to provide to schools in under Proposition 98. Both the governor and the legislature said, yeah, we're not going to actually go fix and appropriate that full amount in fiscal year 26-27. We're going to create an obligation in the out years. What that really means is borrowing from schools to plug other places in the budget outside of schools. So that's to the tune of about $3.9 billion. They're in agreement on that amount. So we'll see if that makes it in the final, but if both the legislature and the governor say, yeah, that sounds good to us, we would anticipate, it's very likely that we'll see that in the final budget. As far as school facilities goes, Cash has been advocating to increase the flow of dollars under Proposition 2. So governor has proposed $1.5 billion in 26-27. That's GO bond money. Cash was asking for $2.5 billion. The legislature is in agreement with the governor, and they're saying, let's just keep it at the $1.5 billion. So we've got more work to do as an organization to help and beat the drum on how important it is to get those dollars out sooner rather than later so that we can fund critical school construction projects. Another note in the school facilities world is that we've had one-time funding in prior budgets for kitchen infrastructure and training grant funds. This year, the governor proposed $100 million additional infusion into that program, and the legislature is saying, let's bump that up. We want to go up to $700 million in that program. So that's something that we'll be watching in these final negotiations. Last thing that I want to mention in budget is related to some language in budget trailer bill, and this is related to the school facility program. So trailer bills are bills that accompany the budget and implement policy changes that are needed to finalize that budget. And this trailer bill was proposed by the administration. The legislature has concurred with it. So they've said, yeah, that sounds good to us. We have not yet seen them pass a bill with this language yet, but they're not disagreeing with the governor on this. And so what that language would do is it would give the state allocation board a new authority related to curing issues with a prior project for an applicant. Specifically, the board would have the authority to withhold new approvals for an applicant to a board-administered program if that applicant is in or is projected to be in default with the requirements of a board program. So that could be something like our core school facility program. It could be the FDK program. It could be the charter program, that if an applicant has an issue with a prior application or project in one of those, then that could be used by the board to determine, you know what, we're not going to give an apportionment to a future project until that issue is resolved or cured. Cash did have some questions about this. We've been dialoguing with the Office of Public School Construction to better understand the intent behind this, but I do want to raise this view that it's something that we're watching very closely in the legislative and budget process, and we'll continue to provide updates as this moves through. And with that, I wanted to just make one quick note on wrapping up the June primary election. I know there's a lot of excitement around figuring out who is successful in passing a local bond. So just a note for our members that once the election is certified, which occurs on July 10th, Cash will post a list of all of those local bonds, the status of those, whether they passed or they failed, and that is accessible on the Cash website under the members only section. So look for that after July 10th. And with that, I'll hand it back to you, Tom. Thanks. Or Brooke. Hi, Brooke.
Good morning. I got it here from Tom. Thank you, Rebecca, for your update. You make everything sound so like everything's going so smoothly. So thank you for all of that. Next slide, please. Good morning. I'm Brooke Murray. I'm the Cash Vice Chair. I'm also the Chair of the Annual Conference Planning Committee. We are busy planning for the annual conference. And thank you for those that have submitted your workshop topics for consideration. We received over 200 submissions And our committee strand chairs are busy meeting later this afternoon to review all of those workshop submittals. So there are a lot of applicants, some of them that I saw were really good topics. Looks like it'll be a good wide variety of workshops that will be offered at the annual conference. We are hoping to have review all the workshops and be completed with it. And then you can expect by October, we should have confirmation of all the workshops that have been approved and ready for you guys to start planning those presentations for the workshop. So lastly, I just want you to mark your calendars for February 23rd and 25th for the 48th annual conference that will be held at the Safe Credit Union in Sacramento. Next slide, please. Cash offers on their website a job exchange and a people's choice slide on the website. If you have any upcoming RFPs or RFQs that you want to post from your district or your firm, please utilize the Cash Professional Opportunities job board to reach a wider and more diverse audience. Cash members can log into the Cash website and post their jobs on the RFP board. And with that, our next statewide school facilities meeting will be held on Wednesday, July 26th at 9 a.m. to 10:15. And I want to thank you all for joining us today, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you.